everyone, so for today's video I'm going to be doing a review of the Urban Decay Smoky Palette. As you probably know, Urban Decay came out with their fourth kind of big palette in the Naked line, and I'm sure many of you guys have tried one of their other three and probably were just as impressed by them as I was. So when this fourth one came out, I had to go get it. I couldn't resist. And I am so glad I did, guys. I really am. But if you guys want a more in-depth review of what I think of this palette, whether you should purchase it and for what reasons, just keep watching this video. Alright guys, so first of all, the packaging is just like amazing on this palette. They did an amazing job with this. I know that with the Naked one, I really didn't like that felt kind of on it in the Naked 3. I don't like how it was, for at least the one I got, was kind of hard to like clamp shut. This one is great just because it is a magnetic close, so it just shuts super, super easy. So that's wonderful. But another thing is just like this packaging is so pretty. It's kind of like a smoky kind of look to it. It almost looks kind of marbled, but it's just supposed to be like the smoke going across it. Obviously, it's the Naked Smoky palette, but it is just great. I like that it's a plastic. It's not any of that felt or anything, which I mean they haven't done since the first palette. But I don't know, I just really, really like this packaging. I think it's super pretty cute. Something I kind of just like want to have sitting out on my counter because I like it so much. But yeah, that's the main thing about the packaging. Like I said, it's a hard plastic, it's magnetic, it's very sturdy, so I'm really liking this. And obviously like the eyeshadow is the more important part. But it's good to have like a nice packaging when you buy a product, especially when you spend $54 for a palette. You want it to have good packaging that's gonna hold up. Okay, my hair is literally driving me crazy. It like does not want to stay. Okay. Okay, so once you open this bad boy, there is a mirror up top, which I have not removed like the plastic wrap off of it, just because I really don't use the mirrors in these palettes that much, and I'd rather have the plastic get dirty than the actual mirror itself, because the plastic doesn't really smudge where, you know, a normal mirror is gonna smudge. But once you open it, you have 12 shadows, just like any of the other Urban Decay palettes, and you have a brush in it. So before we get into the shadows, let's talk about the brush. Let me just pull it out here. So this brush is definitely a different type of brush than they've had previously in the palettes. It says Urban Decay Smoky on it, and then one side of the brush is more of a blending type of brush. As you can see here, it's a bigger, fluffier brush. And then the other side is like a pencil type brush for really smudging out anything, say like the bottom lash line, that kind of thing. It's really dense, it's small. And when I first saw this brush, I was kind of like, wow, like this is something different. And as for my thoughts on the brush, here's how I feel about it. I absolutely love the small kind of smudge brush end of it. It's great for getting underneath the lower lash line to just really smoke things out. But as for the bigger blending side of it, I haven't been completely in love with it yet. I just got this palette last week and I have used it a ton, so that's how I'm already doing a review on it. But I keep trying this blending brush end and I really just don't like it. I don't know if it's going to grow on me and I'm eventually going to like it, but my thoughts kind of towards this are I have other better blending brushes. My Morphe M330 blending brush is my blending brush of choice. I just love it. And this one just, to me, just doesn't blend as well as that Morphe one does. I don't know. Still going to keep trying it to see if I like it, and I'll probably update you guys about that. Because I am planning on doing a few makeup tutorials with this palette. But so far, absolutely love the smudge brush end. I'm not a huge fan of the blending brush end, but I don't know. If you kind of feel this way, leave a comment down below and let me know, because I love hearing what you guys think as well. So I'm just going to leave the brush on the counter over here so I don't have to have it like keep falling out while I'm talking about the palette. But like I said, there are 12 shadows in this palette, and I will show you a close-up right here. So this is what the shadows look like. They're just absolutely gorgeous. This palette is just gorgeous in general. As you can kind of see here, part of the packaging is like a clear, like a see-through, which that's kind of cool, something different. So this palette starts off with more neutral colors and gets progressively darker. The darkest right here in the middle, obviously, as you're seeing, and then it gets a little bit lighter towards this end. What I love, I think what really drew me and caused me to purchase this palette, besides my love for Urban Decay, was how many matte shadows there were. Like, I was immediately drawn to that. There's this matte-ish, this might be a little bit more of a satin, but it's pretty much matte color. It's like a white creamy color, this kind of like tan color, this dark brown, this dark gray, and then this other kind of bluish gray called Dagger. This might have a hint of shimmer in it, but barely any. It can pretty much pass as a matte. So I was really drawn to the mattes and the colors that were very, very similar to mattes, because that really is something that we haven't seen a ton in previous Urban Decay palettes. Typically, they have like 1 to 2 matte colors, and then the rest are some sort of shimmers or whatever. But that is not the case with this palette, and I love that because I like having those colors to blend everything out. And this really, by having more mattes, you have a lot more options now of eye looks to do. I'm not going to have to pull out a separate palette to kind of get those colors to blend with. Everything I need is in this palette, and that's really what's so great about it. I will do full swatches of this in a minute, but before then, I will tell you guys I love pretty much every color in this palette. It's amazing, but always for some reason when I get a palette, there's one color that I want to love so badly, but it just doesn't work for me, and that's this color Radar. It's a brown color. It has a kind of a shimmery in it, but what I don't like about it, it's one of those colors where I just can't get any product out of it. Like, there's always one of those in every palette I purchased where you just like, you try it with a brush, you try it with your finger, and it just does not come off with a lot of product. Sometimes I feel like that just depends on your individual palette, just for some reason how it worked out. But I don't know, because obviously I only have one of this palette. So if you have a problem with the color Radar as well, leave a comment down below and let me know, because right now I want to love this color so badly, but it's just not working for me. I just can't get the pigmentation out of it that I can get out of, say, like Dirty Sweet or like Armor or something, even any of the mattes. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, I really want it to be like super pigmented, but it's just not working for me. But besides that color, I really love like every color in this palette. And it's not that I don't love Radar. Like, it's a gorgeous color. I just wish it was a little bit more pigmented, like it would come out of the pan easier when I put it on my brush. But yeah, other than that, super, super great. They give you a great range of colors here where you're still able to do like normal eye looks. Like today, I have on just kind of Dirty Sweet, and I tried to use a little bit of Radar and just like some matte colors, and then this color High in like the inner corner. And I've created a very simple casual daytime look. So that's what I also like about this palette, is that you're able to create a couple daytime looks from this, but you can still kind of create those really dark nighttime smoky eyes as well. So it makes this palette like really versatile. And if you wanted just a simple, really simple look, you could really just take like Combust and Whiskey and put them kind of in the crease and you're good to go. So there's a lot of different combinations here, I think, that you maybe couldn't create with their previous palettes just because the lack of matte colors. All these shadows, except for Radar, which I've already talked about, are extremely pigmented, like crazy. They're creamy. They go on so smoothly. I will tell you that Armor, which is like such a gorgeous, like glittery silver color, is going to have some fallout, like more than the other colors, simply because it really has like more chunky glitter in it. But that's okay. I would just apply the shadows first before you go in and do your foundation. And also with any of these dark colors, really when you're using this palette, unless you're using like some of these more like natural colors, I would highly suggest doing your eyes first and then going in and doing your foundation, just so that if you get any fallout, you're just able to wipe it off and you didn't just like completely screw up, you know, your foundation and powders and all that. But yeah, that Armor definitely has the most fallout, but the other ones, these darker colors, you're still going to get a little bit of fallout, but honestly it does not bug me at all. Also, while these shadows are very creamy and have a beautiful, beautiful smooth texture to them, when you dip your brush in, it is going to come up a slightly bit powdery, but that's totally fine with me. That's bound to happen with most eyeshadows. So I wouldn't be too concerned by that because when it applies so beautifully, so smoothly. The pigmentation is amazing as expected with Urban Decay shadows. So that should not be a concern whatsoever. Alright guys, so here is another close-up of the palette. I'm going to swatch all of these shadows for you guys on my arm. But as you can see, these are more kind of shimmery shades, and there's a really glittery shade Armor, and then still shimmery, and then your mattes here on the end. I like how it kind of goes from lighter to darker to light again. It's not too intimidating. But yeah, let's get into the swatches. So I'm basically going to tell you the name of the shade, how they describe it on the Urban Decay website as like color-wise, and then what I really think of the shade just so you can really get a in-depth review. So the first shade is this color High, and it is described as a champagne shimmer with a micro glitter. I would describe it as more of a pink compared to a champagne color, and I wouldn't say it's too glittery at all. I find it to be more of a shimmery kind of color. I wish you could see it better on screen here, but it is really pretty. I like using this in the inner corner as a highlight, or even kind of under the brow as a highlight. It's really, really pretty. You could use this all over the lid as well if you wanted a very simple and not bold everyday eye look. The next color is called Dirty Sweet, as you're seeing here, and it is described as a medium bronze shade. I would definitely say that this is accurate. It's super, super pretty. Actually, it's kind of one of my favorites in the palette just for like an everyday look. The next shade is Radar, which is the one I told you I'm kind of struggling with. Let's see if I can layer it. There we go. So it took a couple of layers to show up, but this is described as a metallic taupe with iridescent micro glitter. I wouldn't say it's got too much glitter in it. I would say it's a little bit of an iridescent. It's definitely a taupe leaning more towards a brown color. Unlike the first two, this one really just doesn't swatch as well. I am swatching these without a primer underneath, and I always use a primer whenever I do my eyeshadow. But you can just tell compared to Dirty Sweet just how it's really not swatching as nicely as I wish it would, but still a very pretty color. The next shade is Armor. It is probably one of the prettiest in the palette. It's just this gorgeous, gorgeous silvery color that has glitter in it. It is described as a metallic silver taupe with tonal sparkle, and I absolutely agree. It's gorgeous. Probably my favorite color in the palette, actually. Like, I love Dirty Sweet, but this is probably my favorite. It's just a really, really unique color. It's gorgeous. It would be great for a smoky eye just to have all over the lid. It's just gorgeous. Like I said, probably my favorite color in the palette. Like, the pigmentation on this shadow is crazy. Like, the smallest amount is just so highly pigmented. It's just gorgeous. It goes on super smooth despite having glitter in it. So just really, really impressed with that color. The next color is Slanted. It is described as a light metallic gray, but I definitely feel like there's blue undertones in this, which you probably can even tell on camera. Like, definitely a metallic gray, but it's definitely more of a blue undertone versus like a purple type undertone. Then we have Dagger, which is considered to be a medium charcoal with micro shimmer. I will tell you guys, I don't find this color to be super shimmery. I find it to be more on the matte side. It's clearly a very dark gray, but because it's a little bit more, I guess, matte, at least in my opinion, I feel like this color is slightly more chalky, but not like in a bad way. It's definitely going to blend out super nicely, but you just have to be careful. You don't need a ton of this because it is highly, highly pigmented. The next color is Black Market, and it is considered to be a jet black satin. I absolutely agree with this. It's definitely very black, very pigmented, but also buildable, where if you wanted to have a lighter application of it, you can, but if you want it to be super, super black, you're going to be able to build it and just make it so, so intense. but it's a really pretty color. The consistency of this is great. It's not as chalky as Dagger was, but it goes on very, very smoothly and is going to be able to blend out really beautifully. The next color here is Smolder, and it is described as a deep plum taupe color. On camera it's probably looking a little bit more black, but I will tell you in person that it is definitely just a really, really dark purple. For once, the purple actually does look purple, because a lot of times in palettes the purple will just end up looking pretty much like black, which may be how it looks a little bit more on camera, but in person I promise you it is definitely purpley. This is going to be a great color for a smoky eye. Obviously every color in this palette is good for a smoky eye, but this is going to look really, really pretty to bring some color into a smoky eye while still remaining kind of dark in color. The next color is Password, and it is described as a cool taupe matte. This is definitely more of a matte dark gray, but it still has kind of purpley taupe undertones in it. It would look great with the color Smolder right here, right next to it, but it's just super pretty. I love that it's a matte color. It's great for blending out a lot of these shadows here. It would look great with armor. Oops, you can't see it. It would look really cool with armor, or just really any of these colors here. It's just absolutely gorgeous. I love that it's matte. It goes on so smoothly. Like, just feeling this on my finger, it just feels like amazing. It's just a really, really great color, great shadow. I'm kind of running out of room here on my arm, but this next color is Whiskey. It is described as a rich brown matte color. I love, love, love this color. It is gorgeous. It's great for like the more colors on this end, these more daytime kind of normal eyeshadow looks, but it also could look super great if you wanted more of a brown smoky eye. As with the other mattes, it glides on very well. It's highly pigmented. It's just going to blend out beautifully. Then right here on my wrist, we have the color Combust, which is described as a soft pink taupe. That description is 100% accurate. It is gorgeous. Once again, looks great with some of these lighter colors over here for an everyday look, but this is also going to be a color where you're going to use it no matter what color you use in the palette, because it's a great initial color to just blend all in the crease up to the brow, just to make sure everything smooths out and that there's no harsh lines. I always love having a color like this in a palette, and if there's not a color that's similar to like this in a palette, I really actually don't like the palette as much, because you really need a color like this. And then the last color in the palette, which is like right here in the bottom of my palm, kind of not swatched super well, is called 13. It is described as a light beige satin. I called these all mattes, but satin matte are pretty close. Once again, it goes on super smoothly. I was surprised that by the pigmentation of this, sometimes super light color shadows don't show up very well, but as you can see, like, it definitely shows up. This would be great for an under the brow highlight if you don't want a shimmer there, if you just want kind of like a matte satiny kind of color. This is really pretty for that. It goes really great with the color Combust together. And I'm really glad that they included this light color in the palette. It is the lightest, but it's necessary. Sometimes when you're doing all these darker colors, you really need that one light color to just make everything pop. It would also be great as an inner corner highlight, once again, if you didn't want a kind of sparkly, shimmery one. So there is the whole palette swatch for you guys right here. Sorry that I got so close to my wrist down here. I didn't space them accurately enough, but they're just super pretty, as you can tell. Armor is just my favorite. It's just gorgeous. But super wonderful palette. So overall, I am just in love with this palette. I've been using it a ton lately. As to whether you guys should purchase it, my opinion is, if you're like me and you have a ton of other palettes that have a ton of neutral colors in them that you use every day, this is a good palette because it has all these dark colors that you don't use every day. Maybe colors that you probably don't have as many of in your collection simply because you do not wear them all the time. So it's great to just have them all in one palette right here. You know, you got your mattes and then you use dark colors to put on the lid. It's just all in one palette, which makes it super easy. But then if you want to use this for an everyday look, you also have that as an option, which is what I really like about this palette. If you're a person who really does not wear dark shadows, you stick to really light tans and that kind of color range every single day, every single night, like no matter where you're going, I would not suggest buying this palette because I just don't think you'll use it that much. But overall, I really love this palette. I think it's going to be great, especially for the fall and winter months when wearing darker shadows is even more acceptable. This is going to be great for date night looks, for going out with the girls, for a girls' night out. I don't know, there's so many uses for this palette, and I really don't think you're going to go wrong by purchasing it as long as you really like darker colors. If you guys want to see me do a couple different makeup looks using this palette, give this video a thumbs up so that I know. I'm probably going to do at least one anyways, but that will let me know to do a couple different looks with this. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this review video. I hope that you found it helpful. If you have any more questions about this palette, please let me know. Just leave a comment down below and I will gladly get back to you. If you're new to my channel, please subscribe. I post videos on a weekly basis. Subscribing is free and I love getting new subscribers, so it's really a win-win situation and it just really motivates me to continue making amazing videos. I hope you guys have a wonderful day and I will see you all very soon. Bye.